Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Slade Cecconi proved that in 2025. The reverse is happening in 2026, and that happened for the offense on Monday night against the Astros for the Guardians. Let's break it down on Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up? The A-team is back. Jeff is healthy, mostly, I think. I'm healthy. I sound better today, I think, than I have in a while. And the Guardians decided not to cooperate and give us a good game to talk about in our first official show back together in over a week. I know we did the show together last
Thursday for Friday.
Yeah, on the Parker Messick near no-hitter, but that was impromptu because we almost made history. So the Guardians, This is our first planned show. Back together in a week thanks to health and travel, and the Guardians decided not to.
And tornadoes.
Cooperate.
Don't forget tornadoes.
Weather. It's been a wild week, man.
It's been crazy.
Yeah. I'd love for the Guardians to try to cooperate. But you know what? We're still here. We deliver no matter what. I said on Monday, I said rain, shine, tornadoes, illness, travel. We're still here talking Cleveland Guardians every day because this is Locked On Guardians, your only daily Cleveland Guardians podcast that covers your team for the majors minus the draft and everything in between. And we love being on the Locked On Network because you have made the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. So shout outs to all of you. I'm Justin Lada. That's Jeff Ellis. If you've forgotten who the both of us are on the same show. And Jeff's been doing this for 7 years now, 8 seasons.
Yeah, this will be my 8th season, 7 years. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, doing the podcast. This is my 4th season, and we both have spent 19 years toiling away in the minors, covering prospects, draft, all that good jazz, and talking a lot about the Guardians and their, Jeff, on Monday I said the Guardians have a lot of chances to win games right now because their starting pitching almost every night is giving them a chance to win. And I said, you're not going to have great starting pitching every night, but if you have a chance to win because of your starting pitching 2 out of every 3 games in a series, or 3 out of 4 when that 4-game series comes around, you feel good about that, and you take it when it comes. And you just remember, you're not going to win every game, and some of that is due to the bullpen, and sometimes it's the offense. But the starting pitching has mostly done its job this year, and makes you feel like they're going to be in every game and have a chance to win most games as long as the offense and bullpen figure something out. And
except
that
for
does not
Slade starts.
Yeah, it doesn't apply to Slade Cecconi right now. The funny thing, and this is not haha funny, but want to whack your head open funny. Last year, Slade Cecconi did a horrible job of limiting hard contact and average exit velo, but he didn't walk anybody. This year, he was limiting, coming into this game anyway, he was limiting hard contact way better, 81st percentile in average exit velo and 67th percentile in hard hit rate. But his walk rate has plummeted. And then, he only had 2 walks in this game, so it's not like his control was bad. The Astros just weren't fooled. 10 hard hit balls in this game. So that hard hit percentage, that average exit velocity is going to skyrocket for him. He's just not fooling anybody right now. He is the one. Yeah, it's a troubling spot. And unfortunately, man, I was excited about him coming into the season. That cutter in spring training looked like it was a nice new weapon for him.
They were waiting for it. They were teeing off.
Yeah.
They were just sitting cutter in this game.
He got 3 whiffs on the sweeper, but out of 13 swings, he got 3 whiffs on the curveball out of 7 swings, and then nothing else. Those are the only pitches they swung and missed at. So he was not fooling anybody. Every pitch he threw was hit hard in this game. So I don't know if it's sequencing. Is he catching too much at the plate? Is there an issue? Was he tipping pitches? There's a lot of things. The biggest issue before tonight, again, I said was control, was the walks, but he didn't walk anybody tonight. So it's not a good trend right now for our friend Slade.
Yeah, he's always been a player where the underlying metrics do not support some of the production. And I know people get mad and say we spend too much time looking at metrics and numbers, but this is why we look at them. It's because, he threw that curveball was his #1 used pitch today, and then the cutter, and then the 4-seam, and just none of them were all that good. That's been the problem. He doesn't really have that ace in the hole pitch. He doesn't have the out pitch, and then he doesn't, and I would say like Tanner doesn't necessarily have a 60 grade pitch, but he has enough 50s to make it work, enough to keep guys off balance. Slade just doesn't have that 55, and a lot of his, his fastball is
50.
I mean, I think that you're hoping that cutter and the curve are like 50, 55 grade pitches, but like, everything else
a lot of 45s.
Yeah, it's a lot of 45s. And, he was a guy that four seam was kind of quote unquote the calling card, but it's never been good. It's great. It's high velocity, but it's not a strong offering. And
velocity's down this year.
It is. He's at pretty significantly down. Like his average was 92.6 on the four seam in this game.
Yeah.
He's working hard. He's trying to find ways to make it work, but it's just not the most encouraging development so far with him. And I
think it was interesting tonight, by the way, that this season, Slade Cecconi, his four-seam fastball has been his most used pitch, which makes no sense considering it's a terrible fastball. And the expected numbers and the actual numbers say it's a terrible pitch. And his sweeper was his least used pitch this year so far, and his sweeper was the most used pitch in this game. He threw 26 sweepers total. Like, that's the most he's thrown all year. 28% of his pitches were sweepers. He only thrown it 7% of the time. So I'm really curious, like, he scaled back the cutter usage, and I don't know if that's because maybe early on, like he threw a lot of cutters in the first inning, and maybe he got hit too hard, and then he scaled back on it. But he threw a lot of four seams early on too. And the really frustrating part about this is, like, even the outs that he had the first inning, man, if you go look at the exit velocities, like, everything was hit hard. Like, okay, Christian Walker, 111 mile an hour home run, but Yordan Alvarez in the first inning, 106 mile an hour line out, 890 expected batting average, 102 mile an hour fly out by Alvarez in the fourth inning. So Yordan Alvarez is pissed off at Slade Cecconi for wrecking his batting average. Altuve hit a 101 mile an hour fly out. Like, Altuve had a 98 mile an hour double play. Like, even the balls that didn't go for hits, they were scorched. So this was not a game where he was fooling anybody. And I said, the Guardians bats need to show up because the Astros have a great offense. And this Astros offense plus Slade Cecconi struggles, walks or not, was not a good combination.
Well, the crazy thing is Cleveland had almost as many base runners in this game. They just so massively underperformed because they couldn't put anything together. The top of the lineup was a dead zone for them, unfortunately. And, I texted you earlier today. I'm sure we'll get into this more in segment 2. Over the last 2 weeks, two of their worst, three of their worst 5 hitters have been Hedgie, Kwan, and DeLauter based on OPS. Like, there's just some things going on there it's tricky, and that's been kind of this lineup. Whereas on the other side, you got Ramírez, Manzardo in the top 5, as well as Rocchio. But I think looking at the game, looking at the pitching, Slade clearly, I mean, he set him up in a hard situation. 10 hits over 5 innings. He just could not keep them off the base.
He went 5.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Couldn't keep him off the base pads.
Like, he at least gave the bullpen a chance not to be strung out on the vine. You know what's even worse? Sorry to cut you off, but
go ahead.
You know what's even worse is that he gave up 3 hits today that were 76 miles an hour and under. He had 2 bloops, a bloop single by Carlos Correa, and then Paredes' single in the 5th inning was 74 miles an hour. And Taylor Trammell, who ended up getting hurt, had a 29 mile an hour single. So, like, even the balls that he didn't allow to be hit hard still went for hits. So it's like, nothing Cecconi worked.
Their expected batting average is 391. So they just plain and simply hit him. Like, I mean, everything they were hitting wasn't like it was all just bloops and things like that. I mean, they had really good data. And then, like, Festa's okay. 1 run over 2 innings. I think he'll take that in a situation like this. AREN, it was nice to see him go out after I think he started with the walk. And I'm like, great, because he's had some command
and
issues.
A hit.
He did give the hit, but it's like, it was just nice to see him recover from the walk because he has been a little wilder. And then Brogdon, it's like back-to-back outings with a home run. Like, his home run rate was an issue in Anaheim. We'll have to see how it goes. But, he feels like they have moved him into that late inning role, like Festa is, right? The blowout pitchers are Festa and Brogdon right now.
Move Peyton Pillette up the chart.
Yeah, the pitching was was what it was. But you're facing a really good lineup, really tough lineup. Cleveland should have clearly taken our advice and traded for Christian Walker, and then they would have won this game because then they wouldn't have had him. See, it's if they listen
or
to
Paredes, both were available this offseason.
They would be in such a better place. But no, in actuality, it's like this is a tough offense. You needed their offense. Cleveland's offense couldn't fail to come up too many times. Runners, I mean, I got excited. Bases loaded, José Ramírez, but no one came through. Which I'm sure we'll get.
Can't get the José show.
Right? No, well, I'm sure we'll get to.
He tries
in segment 2, but yeah, we pitching didn't do enough, hitting didn't do enough, fielding didn't do enough. I think base running is okay. I can't think of any glitches there, but
well, there's enough glitches to make up for it, is what you're saying. Yeah, we'll talk about the hitting. I said on Monday's show the Guardians offense needed to show up in this series. You could put an X in the Monday column for that game. We'll talk about that next. Is an open position on your team causing some workplace chaos? Your deadline stacking up? Is your inbox overflowing? You got that one spot open. The pressure is on, and you need the right hire. This is a job for Indeed. Sponsored jobs, helping you reach people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location. Don't just hope the right candidate stumbles across your post. The stat that really tells you what you need to know. The minute we've been talking, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching, more time interviewing, and less stress with more results with Indeed. Sponsored jobs. Check all the boxes. We need the right job, the right person for the right job. Cut through the chaos. Listeners of Locked On Guardians, you get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support our show saying you heard Locked On Guardians about Indeed sponsored jobs. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Terms and conditions do apply. Thanks, y'all, for hanging out with us on Locked On Guardians. Today, every day, whenever it is you get podcasts, making us your first listen. We have 3 hosts now, or 1.5, 2, no, 1.5. I don't know what Jeff is splicing over there with the cat, but make sure you check out the Everydayer Club so you can talk with whoever the host of the show is, whether it's me, it's Jeff, the cat, ad-free episodes of the show, access to the group chat with me and Jeff, and other listeners of the show. I shouted all of them out on Monday because they make the group chat happen every game or just every day in general. So tap the link in the show notes. Go to LockedOnGuardians.supercast.com to join in on the conversation. Good thing you didn't get punched this time.
This is not the puncher. This is the
the
crazy feral, the one that likes to steal marshmallows and bagels.
Should be down in Disney with me. That's where the land of marshmallows and bagels and mice are. And we know your cat loves.
She'd be a killer, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but she's not a face puncher. This offense could have used some face punching. They need someone to punch up and take that big. José was getting on base. He was setting the plate. Rocchio was fantastic. Hey, he finally stole a base. Just took it being in a situation where it was too big of a gap for a team to matter to really try there. But yeah, it was.
I can't complain about Rocchio right now.
No, I can't either.
Back days with 3 hits, and he had a double, a walk, and a stolen base in this game. So
no, I'm just poking fun at the stolen base. That's all. But no, he was great. And like I said earlier, one of the big problems is Chase DeLauter and Steven Kwan went 0 for 8 with 2 walks, and they left 9 on base. This team left 12 in scoring position, but they left 19 players on base, and 19 is the top of your lineup. You really need those guys to come through. And I'm a little more concerned with Kwan because he's typically more of a hot starter, cold second half. Right. I don't know if it's the adjustment and the new position or what. Chase DeLauter, the one thing I'll say that I'm not as concerned. Listen, teams have adjusted. He's got to adjust back, but he's got a low BABIP, so there's been some degree of bad luck. Eventually, a few of those balls will find the right spots. But
I think some of that, though, has to do with contact quality. The issue for DeLauter is,
I think you're right. Yeah.
Teams are not throwing him fastballs right now, and they're keeping everything away. And the good thing is he's taking his walks. So when they don't throw him strikes, he is not chasing out of the zone. He's not trying to do more than he can do. The problem is when he does swing at pitches in the zone, it's a slider, a changeup, a curveball, and it's the outer third of the plate, and he's, grounding it to third or grounding it to second. There's just no contact authority behind it right now. So he's got
his weird swing hurts him.
Yeah, so he's got to gear up a little bit more or adjust better to breaking stuff. So yeah, I'm not worried either. Like, this is what happens to rookies, no matter how good you are. Like, unless you're Juan Soto or anybody crazy like that. But hey, the Mets have lost, I don't know, 12 in a row. They're gonna
if they lost tonight, probably. It's 12.
I have no idea if they played Monday. I didn't check, but yeah, I'm not worried about DeLauter. Like, this is what happens to rookies, and he had a walk on Monday here too. José walked and doubled, so like he does José things. He had 2 home runs on Sunday. Like, much as I said, it can't be the José show every night. I know he tries to make it, but he can't be. Like, Rhys Hoskins. By the way, this was like such a poetic ending to the game. I thought Rhys Hoskins trying to stretch a single into a double got thrown out to end the game. It's like, A, it didn't matter because it was 9-2, but B, just like that was how the Guardians offense was in this game.
Can we point out the humor? I don't know if you did on yesterday's show because I've been sick and not sick. But could we point out the humor that so far into the year, 24 games in, that Rhys Hoskins has a higher WRC plus than Pete Alonso? Just remember all the people who wanted Pete Alonso this offseason, that Rhys Hoskins through 24 games has been more productive than Pete Alonso.
Yeah, but Pete Alonso is going to win a Gold Glove for his work in that series in Cleveland, they will say. That's why the Orioles signed him. They wanted Gold Glove first base defense. I mean, who doesn't?
Everyone pays for that. And then I think we'd be remiss if like
Guardians did last year.
They did. You're fair. But then they cut that when that wasn't producing enough offense. I think we were remiss if we also didn't give, in case he's got any family members listening, a shout out to AJ Bluebaugh, UWM pitcher. So he followed my route from Ohio to Wisconsin, but a kid from Clear Fork who got to make his Cleveland debut. He's pitched in the big leagues over the last 2 years. Nice developmental story for them. To me, in some respects, with the way this game went, him appearing late in the game was one of the highlights, just because it's nice to see any relative local kid get to do that, because there aren't as many, Ohio kids we see in those situations. So I thought that was at least a nice moment in this game.
Yeah. I also want to point out, too, that Cody Allen was doing some of the broadcast tonight from the booth. And they were going back and forth, and they were talking about how Chris Bassitt was in town with the Orioles, and he pitched there the other week, and how he had a bunch of family in town because he's also an Ohio kid, Springfield, or no, was it Genoa area high school, which I think is Toledo. And Cody Allen goes, well, the difference between Chris Bassitt and AJ Bluebaugh is they have 25-year. Chris Bassett's high school reunion wasn't 25 years ago. And I had to message our friend Andre Knott, and I was like, Andre, you got to tell Cody, like, I graduated college with Chris Bassitt same year. So he went to high school the same year I did. We're the same age. My high school reunion was not 25 years ago. Not yet. I'm not accepting that fate. So I was like, someone's got to tell Cody Allen to fix his math, because I will not be aged any further than I already am.
I think there was some decent UT pitchers from that Genoa high school that Bassitt went to as well back in the day, as I recall. But yeah, there was that comment. I was like, oh, come on, Underwood, shave your head. We could have had three baldies in a row. Like, it was
4 if you count Andre.
Yeah, you could have just had we were very close to a Three Stooges lookalike contest in the booth. And that's not a comment. I actually really enjoyed their commentary. It's a nice change. It's something different. It's hearing the perspectives with Jimenez and Allen. I think
Chris and Cody, and I still like Andre too, but I think Chris and Cody did a great job.
I agree too.
Yeah, Matt funnels that conversation very well with them. But that's some of the things you have to do in a game that ends up being 9-2. Like you said, 2 for 12 in the runner and score position. Sometimes you're better off being lucky than good. Like, again, Cecconi gave a lot of hard contact last year, but you know what? The results were decent this year. He had been limiting hard contact, and it wasn't going well for him. And tonight he gave up a ton of hard contact, and the Guardians. And look, I'm not going to say hitting with runners in score positions is always 100% luck. It's not, because José Ramírez, when he drives in a run, it's not because it's luck, right? It's just he does happen to get a hit when someone's on, if there's instead of a solo homer. But it's better to be lucky than good. You just want to get your, if let's say 4 of those 8 hits, Jeff, had come with runners on, this might have been a 9-5 game, maybe. Or if you get one of maybe they didn't deserve a home run in this game. It doesn't look like.
I mean, but José has been hot. Let's say he just rips a double there, and that gets you 3 across. That's 9-5. And if Chase, has one of his big ones, when wasn't there 2 on, when wasn't it like
Yeah, they had their chances. Yeah, it was,
Kwan, I think it was with like Kwan
top of the
and
order.
Chase. You know, it's like this was a game that could have. I mean, using my very not scientific approach, it's like it was 15 base runners to 18. Like that's a 6-5 game typically. Cleveland didn't take care of business. That's why theirs was less. The hard hit balls for Houston is why theirs ended up being higher. But yeah, it's just, it's one of those games you look at and you're just kind of like, it's not fun to watch. It's not fun as it's happening because it just gets so expanded. But they had opportunities. This wasn't one of those games where you're like, well, they didn't do anything. There were opportunities. I don't know if that makes it more frustrating or less frustrating.
More. I think it's more because, like you said, the opportunities were there. And again, I said the offense has to show up this series. And just because it's Slade doesn't matter. Like, I know Slade didn't have a great night. He's not been pitching well, but I said on Monday, the Astros offense is good. If you show up and score 2 runs, you're probably not going to beat them. Like a good night for their offense right now might be limiting them to 3 or 4 runs. So like you might need to score 4 or 5. It's not going to be the same as shutting down. I mean, I'm sorry. The Astros offense doesn't have Jonathan Rodriguez hitting cleanup. It's not going to be as easy. Maybe the difference is the Guardians don't need hard hit balls. They need a blue ball. That's what they need. All right. A lot of people want to make different moves to this team, whether that's offense, defense, or pitching in the rotation. Slade Cecconi, some of these bullpen guys that are driving everybody wild. When is the right time to actually make a move? We're going to talk about that next on today's Locked On Guardians. Something I have to admit, I have a big sweet tooth. Really a big surprise, right? It is tough to find the perfect treat, though, without the sugar. And that is why I am looking forward to trying some Confetti Craze 5-hour energy. It's the shot that brings nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. It's the classic taste you remember. Tasty caffeine boost, 0 sugar, quick, easy to satisfy that sweet craving that I have while keeping things simple and on the go. I love the taste of buttery vanilla birthday cake. Great taste. And if you can give it to me with no sugar and gives me energy, I don't have to feel any guilt. I can feel good about it and taste good. Sign me up. The Funfetti flavor is back on 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Crack open Confetti Phase 5-hour energy shot today. Get me some. Get some of that Funfetti into the Guardians lineup today versus, is it Colton Gordon, Jeff? Is that who's pitching for the Astros? Jeff doesn't know. Okay.
I thought it was Ryan Weiss. Today.
Oh, did it change? Okay, you're right. They did it. It was, as of Sunday, it was Colton Gordon. So now it's Ryan Weiss.
Ryan Weiss, and then
that might be a little bit tougher than Colton Gordon. Although he's not having a great year so far, but he's I saw him throw when he was at Wright State in the Horizon League tournament. He had some of the easiest velocity of any college pitcher I'd ever seen. Then he went over and was pitching, I think, at Korea last year. Last 2 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's had some good stuff. I'll be curious to see. But, I mean, I think they signed him more to be their long man, but they have no pitching. And then I think it's supposed to be him and then Peter Lambert potentially. I don't know if Colton
Wednesday,
Gordon's still on the team, but he's more of their long guy. Occasionally he's been their starter in that kind of because they were a team that was hoping to go with the 6-man rotation this year.
They thought about it because of Amai, and now Amai's hurt, so it doesn't
and
matter.
With McCullers too.
McCullers, Javier, Hunter Brown, like that. That's I said the Astros pitching is not good. Their bullpen's not good either. Like neither of their starters or relievers are any good. No. Their best reliever, Jeff, is, believe it or not, Daniel De Los Santos.
I say, isn't he their closer? Because
because
Brian Abreu's struggling.
And Hader's hurt. So this is, you want to win this series, but you're going to have to hit to win this series. Like the Astros, they were playing really poorly before coming into this series, but they hit. So you want to beat them, you got to out-hit them. Like luckily today, Parker Messick's going, and you feel good about that. He's had no problem beating good offenses. Like he pitched well against the Braves, the Cubs, the Dodgers. Doesn't matter. So hopefully he, is not due for any kind of clunker, but you got to hit. You got to give the guy some offense because the Astros are going to propose a threat. So it'll be a tough one. They haven't seen Ryan Weiss before, so that I think gives the pitcher some advantages. We'll see what happens in this game. Would like to see Daniel Schneemann in the lineup. I'm not sure where he was on Monday night. Your best three hitters right now are José, Schneemann, and Brayan Rocchio. I mean, you can't keep putting Juan Brito at second.
Their slavish devotion to Brito is driving me a bit bonkers because I understand he's a young player.
Slavic, like Yugos. Oh, my geography is not up to date right now. Shoot.
But either way, it's like Brito is bringing you. I mean, I understand he made a pretty decent play going into center today, and people are like, "Hey, he made a play." It's like, yeah, but he did absolutely nothing at the plate except for getting beaned. And I mean, they're putting the equivalent of what you can do nowadays with a shift with him, and then every team has the book, and they just know throw low and he'll expand, and it's just you're not playing who's been your best hitter over the last 2 weeks. Like if your best OPS, your best hitter over the last 2 weeks is also one of your best defenders and one of your best speed players, because you want to play Brito more, who has an error every day. And if you get rid of those 2 games, his first 2 games when he came up, since then it's just been atrocious. Like it's a black hole in your lineup. If he's up here for depth, that's fine, but like he's also not the chances that he's a part of the future of this team are very, very, very small. So like, don't hurt your now for something that isn't a player who's not part of your future. You got Bazzana, you've got
Daniel Schneemann is Mr. Right now.
Yes, and play the hot hand. Yeah. And Schneemann should be in every day while he's the hot hand. Like Angel Martinez is cooled off.
Every day, Schnee. Say it with me. Every day, Schnee.
It's like people don't necessarily see that like Angel is cooled off, but he's cooled off after that. But it's like when he was the hot hand, you play him. When it's Schneemann, play him. Rocchio, with all of these players, even go back to before Gabby got hurt and throw Bo into this mix. All of these guys have yet to show that they can do this for more than 2-3 weeks, then cool off. But while they're having that 2 to 3 weeks, they should be in there every day.
So we mentioned, Jeff, that we're going to talk about when's the right time to make a move. Because you see it out there from a lot of fans.
The knee jerk is high.
Yeah. What's the count right now on the football season of baseball? Like, where are we at? Do you remember?
This is getting 24, right? So it's 24 out of 162. So that puts us at we are about 14.8% of the season. How many? We said there's 17 games in a football season.
Yeah, they have 18 now, but one's at bye. So
17 times, where's my star button? Star 0.148. So we are 2.5 games into the football season.
Yeah. It's too early to make changes, but everybody wants to send Slade to AAA. And to be honest with you, if there was an option to bring somebody up, I wouldn't be against it, just because right now he is getting pummeled. He's, Slade's on his last option year if you send him down. So there's that. You've already burned the option on Logan Allen, so it doesn't matter. But Logan Allen isn't the replacement right now.
No.
There's nobody in AAA to bring up for Slade. Like, I wouldn't be necessarily against Slade getting a refresher in AAA or figuring out what it is he needs to be doing. But as far as bullpens go, like, I know you were texting me about Connor Brogdon. It's like, it's April 21st, man. Like, you don't go into the season signing guys like Hoyer and putting him on the 40 and Brogdon, who has no options, and Holderman, and you don't do that by cutting them early and churning and burning. Like it's April.
I think you do, though, to a degree, because they're $1 million guys, $2 million guys. Like,
it's not about the money, though. It's not about the money. It's about the depth. Right now, you don't have the depth. Like,
no, I agree. There isn't a better option, unfortunately. I'm saying if there was, I don't think you'd have an issue. That I guess I should clarify.
It's not the money. It's the depth right now. It's like I said this on Monday. It's a long season. So like April 21st for a struggling reliever is not the time to be making a move. You bring up Cody Hoyer, like, okay, sure, that's great. What happens if Hoyer struggles or gets hurt? Okay, Franco Alamon, but what if Matt Festa continues to stink? And I know he was better on Monday, but like he's not been good for the most part. What if he stinks? Oh, okay, Daniel Espino. Okay, well, what if, someone gets hurt again? All right, well, Andrew Walters, whatever. Oh, Franco Alamon, great. But every time, bullpens are fickle. Every time something happens, you have to have a name to bring up. And remember, you need I-71 shuttle relievers. You need guys with options. because the bullpen is taxed from the previous night, which thankfully, if you want to say one positive thing about Slade on Monday is he went 5 innings, so the bullpen wasn't absolutely shredded. Like Gaddis didn't throw, Cade didn't throw. I think Paulette was probably unavailable going 2 innings, but like Armstrong didn't throw. So you have the strong part of your bullpen for the most part ready to go. No Sobrowski. So like those guys are good to go Tuesday. And hopefully they won't need a lot of work because Parker Messick's going to be magic again on Tuesday. But there are nights where a Slade Cecconi pitches or someone gets hurt or someone gets knocked out early and the bullpen covers a lot and you need someone to come up the next day. And you can't always do that with Colby Aller because guess what? He's on the 40 and at some point he might opt out or you might not have a spot to add him. So like the relief churn and burn in April is hard. Now, when you get to, late May and it's still a problem, then yeah, you revisit it. But May 21st or April 21st is too soon for the bullpen. Jeff, I don't know about you, but I know it's been a struggle for Brito. I would definitely like to see Schneemann more if you want to platoon Schneemann against lefties. Not that Brito is like better as a right-handed hitter than he is a lefty, but I'll allow that just because Schneemann doesn't really have, in the past hasn't hit lefties. I'm also not against Milan Tolentino being a bench option because you got a 40-man spot and I don't care if you DFA him later in the year. He's a better defender, and you could start Schneemann and use Tolentino as your utility defender. And when Arias comes back, you just DFA him. And then as far as catchers, like Cooper Ingle's not coming up here next week or in 2 weeks. Like, yes, he hit 2 home runs on Sunday. That's great. He's drawing a lot of walks. He's always done that. But like, I did the whole Bo Naylor advanced stats like data chart on Monday too. And it's like, they're going to stick with him. Like they didn't bring Bo Naylor back, Austin Hedges back. They didn't take all that time to rehab David Fry to catch again, to look at May 22nd or April 22nd and be like, all right, one of you's gone and we're going to bring up Cooper Ingle. No, this team, look how long it took to cut Mike Zunino in 2023.
I got to throw this to you. Have you looked at Cooper Ingle's prospect savant page?
Not like a week.
So he is currently he is the first percentile for swing percentage and third percentile for zone swing. So he is being the most passive hitter imaginable, and that works in AAA with the level of command. That's what allows him to get into power, even though his max EV is 1018, which is really bad. Like that is still that's still going to hold him back. Like he barrels, he actually manages to have hard hit even with that. So that's like don't get me wrong, there's a pathway for success, but he doesn't chase. He's walking at a high amount, but this is about the most passive profile you'll see. And that, unfortunately, that profile is not that's Bo Naylor. It's a Bo Naylor-esque profile, honestly. And he is not the defender Bo is. I know people won't agree with that statement, but he's not. Bo has turned himself into at least a league average catcher. So it's like, and that's the other thing too. Like you can't look at AAA stats. You can't. It's a bad stadium for evaluating
underlying
stats.
data. It's not even that ballpark. It's all AAA.
It's all AAA
as far as
plus
environment, but
yeah.
All
I mean, one year,
stats
Jonathan,
right
was it like, 2 years ago, Jonathan Rodriguez led the Cleveland Guardians minor league system in home runs, batting average, and RBIs, the Triple Crown stats, because he's playing there. Like guys have career seasons there. Will Wilson, remember what Will Wilson was doing in AAA last year?
Owen Miller, anybody? Owen Miller? Is there an Owen Miller here?
And so then people are like, well, then how are we supposed to judge? It's like, well, you have to do the eye
data.
test. You have to look at underlying data. You have to kind of dig deep. And the thing I'll say, when it comes to relief pitching and like when things can happen, it's like you have to look at who would have been here if they were fully healthy. And it's like when Andrew Walters can like pitch more than once every 3 days, he'll be up. It probably is going to take till the end of the month to get there, but like he'll be up then. And that's going to be either Festa or Brogdon out at that point. And we'll see which one clears waivers. And then after that, it's Aleman has to show that he can keep some of these things going. But I would not be shocked if he becomes a late May, June option. And I got to be honest. I mean, Espino, they're not going to rush him. They're not. That arm is special. They put a lot of time. It's been, as much as we complain about Chase, like the injury history is even scarier with Espino. and it's going to take patience, and they're not going to rush him. I don't think you see him. I would be surprised if you saw him before August, and I'd be surprised if he moves out of a once every 3 day role before it turns into summer and starts heating up. I just think that, like,
I mean, Chris Antonetti did say the other day that he is going to be a reliever, and that they are getting to a point where his schedule will be less regimented. It'll be more a relief schedule. So I would say by May, you might see maybe they'll increase it once every 2 days instead of once every 3 days. But like, it's going to be a gradual, okay, now it's every 2 days. And then maybe June comes around, and maybe in June, all right, he's pitching back-to-back days for the first time. When he finally pitches every other day is when I will start thinking about.
Though they caught up Walters with him never doing that. So who knows?
Right. And that's why I said if he pitches every other day, then I will start paying attention. Not that it's not fun to watch him, but I will start the watch party when it gets to every other day, because you can survive with a guy down every other day in the major league bullpen. You can't do it when he can't pitch 2 days in a row, no matter what. And that's until the training wheels come off. But we got to run. Guardians Astros game 2. We'll cover that for you on Wednesday. We'll preview game 3. Jeff, do you feel a draft? It's cold, man. Oh, the draft is coming up on Thursday, right? The MLB, no, not the MLB draft, but we're going to talk draft this week. We'll do a mailbag. So we got lots of fun things coming for you this week. Thursday, Friday, we'll do mailbags, draft stuff, because we love a good draft here, even if it's not the draft we want yet.
I mean, it's Cleveland. We are born and raised to love drafts. When your teams are as bad as the state of Ohio has been for sports, it's a draft town. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the A team back together again. I call B.A. Baracus. You can be face.
Every day, Schnee.
You can be face. Deep cut there. Thank you all, and go Guardians, go.